Welcome, race fans, to a special edition of NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot. Bonus coverage, if you will, after last night's rain out of the 50th running of the Coke 600. They say there's a first time for everything, and in the first time of the 50-year history of this race, we actually got rained out altogether. But today, we are hoping for better scenes than this. Last night, as the infield was simply too wet, and they had to postpone the race because they had gone out of a window that they could successfully complete all 600 miles. You can see right there how wet it was last night, but we are hoping for a different scene today. Do not let your burgers or your dogs get too wet today. Now let's talk about Hendrick Motorsports, clearly one of the favorites going into this race. Points leader Jeff Gordon is a 5-time winner at this racetrack and is hoping to add a 6th today to pad his points lead over second place Tony Stewart. Mark the Kid Martin has been the man for Hendrick Motorsports with 2 wins so far this season. And you know what? 50 years of racing here at Lowe's and 50 years of racing for Mark Martin as well. Now, Jimmy Johnson used to own this track, but lately he's been leasing it out a little bit, but he's still pretty darn good here. 5 wins for Jimmy and the 48 also. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. made his first Cup start in this historic event back in 1999, and he is hoping to break a winless streak here in front of his hometown crowd from a couple of miles away in Kannapolis, North Carolina. Strap in, everybody. It's time for a bonus round of racing here on a Monday at Lowe's Motor Speedway. And we also have a bonus edition, a 60-minute edition of NASCAR Race Day for you. Let's now go inside and check out Wendy Venturini because, Wendy, we're still looking at the skies.
Yes, it's a Memorial Day Monday, but man, the skies are still looking pretty gray for us here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. If we take a look at the radar, you know if I'm at the radar, it can't be good news. Now, we do have scattered showers. We're north of Charlotte in Concord, North Carolina. Most of the showers will be scattered all day today, but here's what we have to look at the national radar. If we zoom out and look at the East Coast, coming from around the Charleston area in South Carolina, about 240 miles out, we have a very large storm moving northwest. So we hope that this storm will go to away from the Concord area and avoid Lowe's Motor Speedway, the scattered storms in between all of that mess. We hope to get our 600 miles in, 400 laps, but of course, an official race would be halfway at 201 laps. This is the happening place right now. All the crew members checking out the radar as right before we went out on air. So let's check in with NASCAR and Hermie Sadler to get the real scoop of what's happening with these crew members and these race cars this morning.
Well, thank you, Wendy. And standing by with competition director John Darby. The first time this race has been postponed for weather. Now, these guys had the car set up for last night. Now they're going to race in the daytime. What is NASCAR's policy on what the crew chiefs can do to these cars before we take the green flag in here a little under an hour?
Well, actually, all the cars were inspected yesterday, anticipating yesterday's race, right? So they've been housed in the garage overnight and secured. Today, they pretty much roll out as they left them yesterday. The good thing is the race yesterday, had it gone on time, was scheduled to start in the daylight hours. So everybody's pretty close to that. And then if you add to that the fact that everybody just raced here last weekend and a lot of the practicing and everything was done in the afternoon, everybody's got a pretty good feel of what the racetrack. So some minor adjustments through pit stops and everything will put the cars right back where they need to be. And every time they get a stop, obviously, they'll adjust throughout the race to make it better, looking forward to that last 100 miles.
Has there been any talk on the part of NASCAR about a mandatory caution, being that we had all the rain and cars haven't been on the racetrack?
Yes, there has. As you know, a lot of racing here, you get rubber on the racetrack, which is real critical to the condition of the racetrack. And when we get as much rain and heavy rains as we did, that's gone. So we're kind of starting from scratch today. So we'll give the teams an opportunity somewhere around lap 40 for everybody to come down pit road and make some adjustments, look at their tires, make sure everything's okay, and send them forward from there.
Well, you hear it, JR. Basically, NASCAR is not allowing the teams to make adjustments to the cars. They roll on the grid to get going. A mandatory or a competition caution around lap 40 is the word from John Darby.
Hermie, thanks a lot. You know, here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, we got a little bit of a different aura going on. We're inside the racetrack in Victory Lane instead of outside at our normal speed stage. But you know what? When you go from Sunday to Monday, it just takes on a whole different theme here at the racetrack. But the hope is to get 600 miles of racing in here and make it an official race. Want to welcome our usual suspects, partners in crime, Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer, and driver the number 28 Border Patrol Chevrolet, Kenna Wallace. And Kenny, it's just a different feel here this morning.
And you know what? We're still excited. We're still
Absolutely.
acting like there's thousands of fans gathered around us. I'm doing all this and getting pumped up. But race fans, we have to speak the truth. Complete different feel. Now let's talk about the positive things. Yesterday, almost standing room only. The Marines, you know, all the people involved in military were here, and it was an awesome sight. It was very pageantry. But today, I must say this, I don't see anybody hardly. So it is a little bit different. People are wanting to get home to work tomorrow. But you know what? When we drop the green flag, we'll take another scan. But it is the Coke 600, the legendary old World 600. But Jimmy, it's definitely very quiet, and we're less than an hour away, and I don't see but a couple people in the grandstands.
You know, Davey, Davey Allison used to say that the worst thing at a racetrack is rain, and it's so true, Kenny. And, you know, I was very upset today driving in, simply from the standpoint that these fans were excited about a race. You know, the 50th running of the Coke 600 is pretty impressive, and we're watching them leaving their campers and their motorhomes. So it is a somber day for those fans that anticipated a race. But you know what? We can't control the weather. We will have 600 miles today. I believe the weather, you know, be spotty. And unfortunately for those fans, they'll get to read about it in the paper or watch it tonight on their highlights on the news. But at the end of the result, going to be an interesting race. Simply from the standpoint, John Darby said it, they're not allowed to make any adjustments. So I believe that the guy that was questioning his car yesterday in the race, he was very confident that he was going to run well. He probably won't run quite as well as the guy that says, you know what, I don't know what my car was going to do last night. That's what I feel, Kenny.
Well, you know, I think one thing that these drivers are looking at right now is, what do I have to do now? Little subtle changes, race fans, like he had his helmet ready to go. He had a clear shield on it, you know, and then he was going to take the tear-off, and then he was going to get ready for night racing. Now all we have to do is we have to get our mindset that it's going to be all day. So, you know, there's going to be no night racing. I say there's not going to be no night racing, John Roberts, but you never know. If we get a rain delay, we might go into the night.
Well, the one thing we do know for sure is we're going to have some type of race here today, and we're also having some fans file in the stands right now. If you're in the Charlotte area and you don't have a ticket, you can still come in and buy a standing room only ticket, and of course, all your tickets from earlier in the week will be honored today.
Hey, they're filling up.
They're filling up, and you can also watch the race on Fox at noon today, and we'll take you all the way up to noon here from Lowe's Motor Speedway. Come on out and see us. We're still having fun, and we have a smattering of clouds going away and a little bit of sunshine baking through.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
One of the truly great stories of the 2009 season so far has to be Mark the Kid Martin from Batesville, Arkansas. 2 wins, 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s in this season behind the number 5 Hendrick Motorsports car. And perhaps the biggest number is that Mark Martin is, as of now, inside the chase for the championship in the 11th spot in points. He says that his team has worked together with crew chief Alan Gustafson to give him some of the best cars he's ever had, and he has certainly paid it off with 2 victories so far this season. And Wendy Venturini, I think it is very safe to say that the combination of Mark Martin and the rest of the number 5 team is the real deal.
It definitely has been paying off. The last time Mark Martin has had 2 wins in a season was back in 1999. Mark Martin's been on a roll, and we wanted to take a second look at the real deal from this week. Mark Martin winning a historical race 2 weeks ago in Darlington. Today we have the Coca-Cola 600, but before that, we had the Southern 500, and in victory lane was Mark Martin.
His second win in 2009, Mark Martin wins the Southern 500 at Darlington.
First off, Mark, congrats on the second win this season. What did you think when you got to victory lane a second time? I mean, that's really starting to prove something about this 5 car.
You know, for me, it was, in some ways, it was even more enjoyable because it was pretty overwhelming at Phoenix. It had been so long, and there was so much excitement and so many people coming in. And this time I got to really see the team's face. I got to really feel the enthusiasm and the excitement that they had, and that's better than the trophy.
Now, after your Phoenix win, I interviewed Alan, and he told me,
Mark's going to watch this and be mad at me probably, but that's why I race. You know, I don't think it's a secret that we're here to win races and win a championship.
is it wrong for Alan to throw the disclaimer out there that he and the 5 team are going for a championship?
No, that's fine. That's fine for Alan. You know, I'm out here to finish as high as I can in every single race. And if I'm running 25th, I will bust a gut to run 24th. Just like I will running second for first. But I'm not going to allow a points tally dictate my mood or how I feel about myself or my life. You know, I'm done with that. I feel good about that. It's working for me. And everybody else can do what they want to. But the way I'm doing it right now is working for me.
And you don't want to claim that you're running for a championship.
I'm not laying awake at night thinking about that championship trophy.
Yeah.
I'm laying awake at night thinking how much fun it is to drive a really fast race car. And I might have a chance to win again this weekend. You know, that's what I'm thinking about.
And the 5-car crew chief, Alan Gustafson, has had 2 weeks to revel in that victory back in Darlington. It seems so long ago, but we were just listening to Mark Martin again say he doesn't want to say that C word, championship, but you laid it on the line and told me that's what you guys are going for this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate goal. You know, that's what we work so hard for, and we've got great sponsors in Kellogg's and CarQuest, and, you know, of course, Mr. Hendrick gives us everything we need. So we work really hard, and, you know, I understand Mark's point. You know, he doesn't want that to be the focal point of what we're doing week in and week out as far as trying to win races and just run well. But if you do all that, you know, you run well, you win races, you're going to be in contention. So first goal is to win, and we've done that. And second goal is to get in the chase, and we've got to get ourselves in a little better position there. And then we'll try to see if we can't win it.
All right, we're looking at today, the radar. There's some spotty showers. What do you take in today? We've heard NASCAR say, John Darby told us around lap 40 we could be seeing a mandatory pit stop. How does that play into what your strategy may be?
You know, it's going to be a little different. Fortunately, this is really close to the way we first practice on Saturday, so the cars should be pretty close. But we'll see how the car's handling and what we've got to do, and we'll keep the rain in consideration because, you know, there is potential for it to be shortened. I think we're going to get it in. That's the good news. And, you know, around lap 40, we'll see when that is and just adjust accordingly.
All right, Alan Gustafson, of course, we'll be making those adjustments today. Johnny, I think Alan made a good point. Most of the practice session we had was during the day. We were preparing for a night race, but of course, now it looks like it's going to be an afternoon race here in Charlotte.
Wendy, that's right. This does change everything. And you know what? Depending on who you talk to, this could be the big picture. It could not be the big picture. The championship standings as of right now, as we have 11 races so far this season under our belt. And Jeff Gordon has the top spot. Tony Stewart just 29 back. And right now, history says it that these 5 guys are looking pretty good to be running for the championship at the end of the season.
And Johnny, week in and week out, the biggest surprise is Tony Stewart. You wouldn't think that he'd be up there in the points. But week in and week out, these 5 guys here are always in that top 10, top 5, chasing wins. Tony hasn't won yet. He has won the Sprint All-Star race. But Denny Hamlin, you know, he hasn't won, but he's close to, Kenny.
And, you know, everybody says, oh, the championship contender. Race fans, I'm not worried, and you shouldn't be worried about who's first right now. What we should all be looking at is anywhere from, like, let's say 8th down to 15th. It is a barn burner. Remember, the top 12, Carl Edwards, on the edge right now. He's sitting on the bump seat right now.
And it wasn't long ago, you know, Boyer, we were talking about Boyer, he's second in the points all at once. He's outside looking in. Juan Pablo hanging around there. David Rudin was in the top 10 most of the year. 3 bad weeks in a row. But, you know, we think about this, guys. Here's guys. Come on. Casey King, Vickers, Jr., Truax, and Marcus is a surprise. But these 4 guys here from 15th, 16th up through 19th, there's no question in my mind. These guys,
and
they got their work cut out for them.
Relatively speaking, though, 140 points back for Marcus Ambrose. That can be made up. We don't have a big point gap right there.
I would like to say that I think it would be great for the sport to see somebody like Marcos Ambrose from Australia be in the top 12, have a fight for the championship.
It'd be a good day, mate.
It would be a good day, mate. Yes, it would.
I'll give you guys a little tidbit. I was talking to a certain team. They are already talking to Marcus Ambrose for about next year.
Interesting. Well, that'd be a wise move because he's a great driver and a great guy as well, and people are already posturing for next year at this time. Let's now bring Hermie Sadler in on this one, and Hermie Sadler, from a driver's standpoint, we heard from Mark Martin and Alan Gustafson, maybe you don't have to look at a championship to be a champion because your job is to go out there every race and earn the most points possible.
Well, the bottom line is, as far as Mark Martin's concerned, he doesn't need a championship to validate what a great race car driver he is, but it is one of the reasons he came back was for that opportunity. Now, the championship point standings, it's a barn burner, like Kenny Wallace said, a lot of guys in contention. But what is fun to watch, or interesting to watch, is that we've got comers and goers here. We're about halfway through to see who's going to make this chase. We've got all the Richard Childress racing cars. A couple of those guys are in position now, but they're struggling. They are dropping back. Then we've got the Michael Waltrip cars that are showing some promise, showing some potential. The Earnhardt Ganassi cars have been running better recently. So what would concern me more as a driver is not whether or not I'm 10th or 15th right now, is how my car is running as we head into the summertime. Some of these guys have really got to be concerned that they're not performing well on the racetrack, guys.
And you know what, Hermie, if you want to look back at history, a lot of people should be afraid of Tony Stewart, because remember, over the past few years, he is a second-half driver. He loves the hot tracks, and he loves to race under the hot conditions.
I feel raindrops right now.
Oh, don't say that. No, you don't. Right.
No,
it's just a couple. They're going away, Kenny. Think positive.
No way.
Think positive.
Somebody's crying.
On any given race day, you can't write off Kevin Harvick in the number 29 Pennzoil Chevrolet, so let's take a hot lap around this hot track with Kevin Harvick.
But here we are exiting turn 4, coming to the start-finish. Wham, there it is. This is a critical part of the racetrack. Real high, entering this corner, get to that white line. We saw Tony Stewart pass Matt Kenseth here in the Sprint All-Star race for the win, Kenny.
Yeah, up off turn 2 right here, down the back straightaway. Now let's be a little patient. We're riding. When do we want to let off? Let off now. If you drive in too hard, the car will not make the corners. It's that simple.
He got it up there, King. Look, you're right. He got it up the racetrack.
And he's running right in the middle of the racetrack. One thing I want to point out is that you can run anywhere you want on this racetrack accordingly to how you enter or how you let off the gas.
Now, had you been with us for NASCAR race day, the one that was supposed to be before the race yesterday, Hermie Sadler showed us how treacherous turn 4 can be. So let's go back to the first Cup practice on Saturday and take a look at how Reed Sorensen and Jamie McMurray found out just how tough that corner can be.
Yeah, now that's 2 wide, fans. That's not 3. In the Sprint All-Star race, like Hermie said, it's hard to get 3 wide there, Kenny. And, you know, that's the end result. Here it is again.
And this was controversy. This was not considered racing. They were very upset. Jamie McMurray said, I caught Reed Sorensen from a straightaway back. We're in practice. Why didn't he let me go? But both of them should have said, hey, let's just take it easy.
Now, we saw another fantastic show here at Lowe's Motor Speedway on Friday night with the Nationwide Series race. Actually, Saturday. I'm sorry.
Saturday, there you go.
Saturday. I'm getting my days confused here because it's Monday, Memorial Day. But anyway, let's flash back to Kyle Busch and see how you pass some cars on the high side.
This is awful early in the race. Excuse me, you will not see this tonight. This is 600 miles. This is a different mentality. We saw him in the Sprint All-Star race do that, and we saw him Saturday night do that. I believe the mentality, 600 miles, you just don't take this 2 and 3 wide chance. I'm sorry, 3 wide chances real early in this race.
Hey, Kenny, what did he look like going by you?
Hey, that was mean.
Hey,
let me tell you something.
Kenny. That was Johnny.
Let me tell you something. Kyle Busch passed me, and I thought, okay, you know, I'm not a contender for a top 5, but when I seen him pass Carl Edwards and everybody else before lap 40, I said, okay, this guy's fast. He's passing all of us. This is out of hand. People say to me, my daughters say, Dad, Kyle Busch must be cheating. I said, no, honey, he's the greatest of all time.
He's just dang good right
He keeps that right foot down.
Yeah, and speaking of darn good, let's go to our good friend Hermie Sadler. See what Hermie's got going on.
Well, thank you guys. I caught it with Steve Addington, crew chief for Kyle Busch, and another curveball for you guys here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. You had your car set up for last night, and the sun's in and out. It's going to be very tricky for you guys today.
Yeah, we were just looking at the radar there. There's just got little sails building up underneath us, and the warmer it gets, the more sails you see. And this one that's coming towards us, it looks like it's going to get us wet again before we get started here. But yeah, you start the car off to start a little bit of daylight, so I don't think that anybody's going to be throwing any curveballs, you know, of what on their setups. They can adjust air pressure, what they got built in the car. So I don't think it's going to hurt anybody really. Just the green racetrack's going to be the big question.
And what kind of adjustability? We hear that word a lot this weekend, adjustability. What do you do to your car specifically to prepare for situations when you may have to make some significant changes?
We got spring rubbers in both rear springs and knock-ins. We got half rubbers we can knock in, 15, 20 pounds at a time in the right rear, pull out of the left rear, wedge and track bar adjustments, and then you always have the air pressure adjustments all night long.
And do you understand, does your driver understand if track gets slick, you might have to slow down a little bit? I've never seen him slow down.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he's driving my car, to be honest with you, that it got Kyle in there, and he's pretty good at it. So looking forward to this race, really. I mean, I wasn't too upset about it. I think racing in the daytime is going to play into our hands a little bit.
These guys looking forward to getting it done on maybe a slick racetrack. Wendy?
Well, thanks, Hermie. We wanted to check in with a lot of the people that work in this garage area. What happens on these rain delays? Well, you think about all these crew members. They came in at 9:30 this morning. The race is later on this afternoon. How do they eat? Well, a lot of the hauler drivers had to make a run to the grocery store last night. Not the place I would want to be on a Sunday night. But Craig Wadsworth is cooking up a heck of a storm right here. He's got some ham and cheese. I bet, now Spencer's going to get really hungry when he looks at this. But you got to feed all these guys in the garage area. So plan B, you run to the grocery store, you grab some groceries, feed these guys before they head out to pit road, hopefully for 600 miles today. But Johnny, bad news. The rain is beginning to fall. Boo-hoo on the rain right now.
Hey, Wendy, is that one of those Elliott Sadler famous bologna burgers down there?
I think so. It looks like bologna burgers. What do we have? What do we have, Craig? What is this?
Ham and cheddar and grilled turkey and Swiss.
Turkey. The turkey looks a little bit more healthy. Is this is ham at? All right, we need some. Oh, there's some old bacon from breakfast this morning too.
It's
some
still good.
Super
It's still
absorbent.
good.
Okay, that's enough. We've had enough.
Fine. Cold bacon's good.
Just in case you missed it over the years, once Elliott Sadler ate 16 bologna burgers at South Boston Speedway. Just thought I'd bring that up, even though that has absolutely nothing to do with racing on Memorial Day.
Where's he at? Can I find Craig?
We'll get Craig. We'll get Craig over here. Craig, we're hungry. As a thank you to the race fans who've endured the elements to attend the 50th running of the Coca-Cola 600, Lowe's Motor Speedway officials are offering a 10% discount for tickets to the October 17th Sprint Cup Series race to anyone with a Coca-Cola 600 ticket. And we want to reiterate that if you do have a Coca-Cola 600 ticket for yesterday, it will be honored today. And if you're in the immediate area, you still have a lot of time to come down here, see guys like Bill Elliott race 600 miles, because there's half hour before scheduled time on Fox. That means you still have, 5.5 hours after that to watch racing here. So you got plenty of time to come down here and see us. We promise you a good time. Let's now check back in with Wendy Venturini.
Well, thank you, Johnny. Just when you think news couldn't happen on a rained out Monday, well, guess again, right here on NASCAR Race Day, we're going to catch up with Tommy Baldwin. With Tommy Baldwin Racing, you have some news that's been happening in the last 24 hours with your driver, Scott Riggs. Catch us up to date with what's going on.
Well, I mean, myself and Scott, we sat down a couple weeks ago and just, went over the season, how it was going. And, we decided then if we weren't going to make any gains together the next 2 or 3 weeks, we would probably look in some other directions. And a couple of weeks went by and we didn't really make any gains. The chemistry, we're just not getting it, for some reason. I mean, Scott's a really good race car driver and gives really good feedback. We just weren't getting the job done for him. We weren't giving him what he needs, and that happens. I mean, you see it all the time. 5-car being a perfect example last year, and now this year they haven't changed anything and just put someone else in it, or you put a different crew chief and something changes. So that's how it all works out. So this is going to be his last race. I'm going to race all day today, and start next week. We're going to be putting Mike Skinner in the car. We're excited about that. We got a little schedule conflict with the trucks because we don't want to take anything away from the truck series going for the championship. So we can't drive 5 of those races. So Patrick Compartier is going to drive the other 5. And we're also going to do a deal on the road courses because that was already done before we talked with Patrick with Brian Simo for both road course races. So we're real excited. We're going to just evaluate everything with Mike Skinner and Patrick Compartier, work on some more sponsorship and some more marketing ideas, and keep moving forward. We're here to stay. We planted our stake in the sand in the beginning of the year to let everybody know we're here to stay, and it's growing pains. I mean, we witnessed a lot of new teams come in this series the last 2 or 3 years and miss a lot of races, and we're still here, and we plan on being here a long time.
All right, thanks to Tommy Baldwin for joining us live on NASCAR Race Day. There's an update for you. Race fan Scott Riggs will be out after the Coke 600 today. Mike Skinner in, Patrick Carpentier filling in for 5 races Mike cannot do, and also Brian Simo will be in that 36 car. Now, in other news, we mentioned this yesterday. Tuesday, tomorrow, NASCAR will hold a mandatory drivers meeting at the R&D Center in Concord, North Carolina. Drivers, car owners, and crew chiefs are required to attend. What will be discussed in that meeting? No topic is off limits, is what we've been told. They are going to discuss the COT and how to improve the racing here in the Sprint Cup Series and how to make those cars a little bit better. It's going to be an open forum, much like a town hall meeting. But I'll tell you guys, yesterday in the garage during the rain delay, that was the chatter in the garage area during that delay. Car owners, crew chiefs, and drivers were discussing what they want to discuss tomorrow at that town center meeting at the R&D Center for the mandatory drivers meeting. Kenny?
I talked to Mike Helton not but an hour ago. He said this meeting is only for the Cup Series only. Also, Brian France said this meeting is not being held because of Jeremy Mayfield's drug deal. I think this meeting is about reinventing the sport. A couple, 2-3 years ago, they wanted to pay respect to the old crowd. Let's show Bobby Allison. Let's show Richard Petty. The sport is not still going upward. It's kind of leveled out. I think the meeting is about reinventing NASCAR. What can we do to make this sport better?
And, quickly on Tommy Baldwin, glad to see Tommy Baldwin still staying in the sport, making the change. I don't think Scott Riggs is that great a driver, and I think that they're making the right decision. End result is at least we have Tommy Baldwin Racing still here. We need more car owners, more teams, Johnny.
And next weekend on NASCAR Race Day from Dover, we'll have an update on that meeting, exactly what was said between the drivers, the crew chiefs, and NASCAR about the future of the sport. Now, you want to stick with us. We have a lot going on today. NASCAR Victory Lane immediately following the Fox race coverage, which begins at noon Eastern time. And also we have This Week in NASCAR coming at you at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So it's a full day of racing on this Memorial Day, but let's remember to honor our armed services. Welcome back, everyone, to a special edition of NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot. Even though this marathon of a race spans 600 miles, it's a great race for Sprint Cup drivers to get their first victory. David Pearson did it in '61, Matt Kenseth in 2000. Most recent was Casey Mears, Bobby Labonte in 1995, and Jeff Gordon did it in 1994. So we could well see another first-time winner here. But then again, Jeff Gordon could spoil the party. Let's now go to Wendy Venturini.
Well, I know this guy beside me, Steve Letarte, is hoping Jeff Gordon spoils the party, but you guys are good here, always have been, but a little bit of a different scenario getting ready for last night and racing today. Any concerns you have on behalf of the 2014?
Well, without a doubt, this cloud cover is really helping. I think as long as the track stays around 100 degrees or a little cooler, we're going to be just fine. If the sun comes out, you're definitely going to have to work on your stuff. It's probably going to get real slick, probably edgy in the back, but I'm looking forward to it. 600 miles when you have a veteran driver, a solid race team, longer the race usually suits us, and I'm excited.
A lot of talk, last question, about a meeting held tomorrow by NASCAR, and you tell me the crew chiefs are not attending that meeting, just drivers and owners. Tell me your idea of what this means about and how you think it can help us.
Well, I don't know what it's about, but I think anytime that the competition meets with NASCAR, it's a great thing. I think NASCAR doesn't get enough credit. Mike Helton and everyone there was really in touch with the drivers and the competition side, and that's why the sport is what it is. That's how we've got to be this successful, and I think they do a great job kind of leading the ship. So obviously them things they want to talk about, they'll all sit down in a room. I think it'll be great, and hopefully we get this race in here today and get on to Dover next weekend.
That's Steve Letarte getting ready to prepare for Jeff Gordon for a run at another win here at Charlotte. Wendy?
19-year-old Joey Logano, I get to say that yesterday was his 19th birthday. Getting ready for the Coca-Cola 600. What do you think about this race? Not a lot of practice time this weekend. Racetrack's really green, changes the whole strategy today.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. Track's gonna be green, and I'm sure everyone loosened up their cars for at night, so I think everyone's gonna be hanging out for a while the first few laps out till we get to our first pit stop and either adjust on these race cars a little bit. So we'll have to see what we got. I'm sure it's gonna be a lot different than what everyone's expecting out there. So we'll hang on and get through the first part of the race and see what we got.
Now, you sat in the rain most of your birthday yesterday. I'll tell you a secret. Your dad, Tom, wanted us to give you a Cool Whip pie in your face on race day yesterday, but your mom fought for you. Did you do anything fun for your birthday, and did your dad finally get that pie in your face?
No pie in my face, no. I sat in the motorhome and watched it rain all day like everyone else did. It was kind of a bummer, but you know, I mean, at least we have to go racing today. That's the exciting part. You know, I'm looking forward to get out there in the Coke 600, the Home Depot Toyota. We're gonna have a good time on Memorial Day. So I want to wish everyone a happy Memorial Day and see what we can do today. We'll have fun.
All right, good luck to Joey Logano. And Jimmy, the progression of Joey Logano has definitely been a step in the right direction. He said before Talladega he had bought a new watch that he wears on his wrist, and he has not taken it off after the great run in Talladega. We've seen Joey Logano do nothing but good here in the Sprint Cup Series.
Well, it sounds to me like he's trying to count on a lucky charm. There's no lucky charm in this sport. It's just experience, learning from your mistakes. He's done a great job. He's progressed well. He's got one of the best crew chiefs as far as schooling him. We saw it at Darlington. He got in the lead. The guy's doing a really, really good job. Give him a little education. His dad needs to back away a little bit. Let this kid grow with the race team. His dad needs to quit interjecting. They're working on that. And once that happens, this kid's gaining and gaining and gaining. Kenny, I think he's doing pretty well.
Well, I have to agree with you. I haven't seen anybody like this come along in a long time. I would just like to applaud Joey Logano. We, right here, we said that they're bringing him along too quick. And we were right. Because even Joey Logano said, yes, they did bring me along to ride, but I had to take the ride. So
Their hands were tied.
And I do, his hands were tied. I do agree with them. Good job, Joey Logano.
And the best part of it is that ear-to-ear grin he's always got on his face. He's got a great attitude, and that's going to carry you a long way in this sport. We're going to take a quick break here on this Memorial Day weekend. Drivers are heading towards the grid, and the idea is still the same on Memorial Day. Let us remember the men and women who are fighting for our freedom overseas and here at home. Welcome back, everyone, to a special Memorial Day edition of NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. A couple of raindrops falling here and there, but we are hoping that they move away and allow us to get 600 miles of racing in on this golden anniversary of the Coca-Cola 600 here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Let's now send you back over to the grid and check in with Wendy Venturini. Wendy?
Thank you, Johnny. Things are picking up here on pit road. Carl Edwards getting ready to get in his car momentarily. You start 19th, Carl. Are you at all concerned? Because I think your race car is pretty good. You just have to have a little bit of patience today.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you know, it's been a while since, it feels like it's been a long time since we've been to victory lane, and we've been working really hard. And yesterday, the final practice was really promising. We only got 3 laps, I guess, before it started raining, but the car was real fast. It was actually 2 days ago. My days are getting mixed up with the weather.
Me too.
I guess, you know, now we're got to you know, really stay on top of the changing conditions. The track's going to be, you know, real green, and we'll just keep working on it all day. Hopefully avoid any more rain and get this Aflac Fusion to victory lane. That would be great.
Have you looked at the radar? Because it's now sprinkling on us right now.
Yeah, I looked, and I was like trying to look away because I really want to race today. You know, we've got some neat things to do this week. We're doing a Gillette deal tomorrow, and you know, all these guys have been hanging around, you know, just like everyone, and the fans have stuck around, and I really hope we get to put on a show here today.
All right, good luck to Carl Edwards. Let's head over to Hermie Sadler.
Catching up with Matt Kenseth, and we're talking about the rain. Looks like it will not go away, but when we do get underway here, how's your car, and how do you think you'll respond to the racing today as opposed to last night?
I don't know how different it'll be. I think a lot of it depends on, you know, cloud cover, if it ever does clear out and get sunny. But we definitely were set up and planning for night and what the track did during the All-Star race and all that, and didn't pay a lot of attention during the day. So I'm not really sure. You know, it gets real slick here during the day, but you know, everybody's in the same boat, I guess. So we'll work on it from there.
What do you have to concentrate on the most? Obviously, 600 miles gets most of the attention, but what do you focus on your race car? Where do you like to be really good at on this racetrack?
Well, I think for us and what we've been fighting the last month or so is just not being too tight. You know, we got we were pretty decent most All-Star races, good and long runs, but too loose all night. And then we adjusted a little too far, got too tight at the end of the race, and you know, that's when we got beat. So I think we just it's a fine edge with these cars and the track, and as tough as competition is to be loose enough. You know, and tight enough to go fast, but not get it adjusted too far over the edge either way. So mainly just keeping the thing free and starting us back as far as we are, trying to get some good pit stops and probably some strategy to try to get some track position.
Matt Kenseth starts 30th. Look for him to make his way to the front. Back to you, Wendy.
Thanks, Hermie. The 16 car will start 16th. Greg, what do you think about this rain, and how does it play into the strategy we were just hearing from Matt Kenseth on what needs to be done to the race car?
Well, you know, certainly our cars handle way different in the daytime. And so a lot of us are going to be challenged. I know that we are. Our car is quite a bit tighter in the daytime than it is. You know, we set up for racing at night and cool temperatures. So this track is going to be way different all day. No matter if the rain stays out of here or not, the track's going to be quite a bit different. But, you know, we just got to keep the track dry. we're not going to do any different strategy. We're just going to race the race, and you know, we know there's going to be a few rain showers throughout the day, but we think we got a decent car, but the day's got me a little nervous.
Does it put a lot of pressure on these drivers because NASCAR says around lap 40 we could have a mandatory caution? Does that put pressure on you to really give some feedback the first 40 laps?
Yeah, it will. You know, that'll be our first, you know, real adjustment, whatever we can do. So it'll be worth giving up track position to make major adjustments at that point. But hopefully the Red Cross car is not going to need those major adjustments. We'll be able to keep some track position.
All right, good luck to Greg Biffle. We're going to walk down the grid. You know, this Memorial Day Monday, we have the opportunity to do this today. It's a little bit more laid-back crowd. We're going to catch up with Elliott Sadler. Man, those are some cool shades. Did you, what, Scott Speed let you borrow those?
I can pull these off. I feel like I can pull these off, but I don't know. Oakley sent them to me and said, "Here you go, try these." So I'm trying them. And we ran very well at Darlington with them, and I had them on Thursday night. We qualified pretty well with them, so keeping them on right now.
I'm hoping they're going to keep the rain away. How is this going to affect what we're going to see those first 40 laps when we get out there?
Well, you know, nobody knows how the track is going to be. You know, this is the first time it's been this green for us, so, you know, we're just going to hope my car, my best by car is going to be pretty good, and we're going to have plenty of time to adjust to it. 600 miles a long, long ways, and hopefully the rain will hold off, but it's kind of how the track was when we practiced, you know, a little bit the other day, so yeah, we should be fine.
All right, good luck to Elliott Sadler. Hermie, the fans are starting to file in here.
They are. The fans are filing in, talking to Jamie McMurray, and you said you think maybe racing in the daytime may be a little bit of a benefit to you based on what you had in the All-Star race.
Well, we ran really well in the showdown when the sun was out a little bit. And then when the sun went down, our car just didn't seem to have the speed in it in relation to the other guys. And yesterday in the first practice, we were, I thought, really good. And then when it got a little bit cooler, just didn't seem to have the speed again. So they've built a little bit of an adjustment into the car today, obviously, if we get this in, if it gets sunny out. And our Irwin Vice-Grip Ford Fusion has been pretty solid in the daytime, so I feel good about it.
This is a 600-mile race. Obviously, you got to be patient as a driver and a crew chief, but you've won here, so you know what it feels to win. How important is that relationship between you and your crew chief to adjust the car but not over-adjust it? We see a lot of that with this new car.
Well, I mean, the key will be track position again today. I mean, certainly you can maybe be a little bit off, and if you can use a tire strategy or pit strategy to get up front, you can have a car that's maybe a little bit off, and then that'll kind of work against you too. If you have a really good car and you get stuck back in traffic, it's very hard to pass. This racetrack is a little bit wider than most, and it does have 2 or 3 grooves, but the most important thing is just getting to have that track position.
Track position is what everybody wants when this thing gets down to the end. Wendy?
And Martin Truex, as we move up the line, has a little bit better starting position than some of those guys back there, starting 12th. Martin, what do you think when the green flag does finally drop? Or what are we going to see? Are you going to take it easy, or can we expect you to go towards the front?
Well, I think everybody's going to feel out the cars. You know, certainly not real sure what we have here. You know, we didn't get a lot of that happy hour practice in, so there was a lot of things that we wanted to do still with our race car. So we kind of made an educated guess, so to speak, and hopefully it'll be good when the race starts. But you know, it's going to be a long day, a lot of things to work on, and we'll just see what we got at first.
This kind of messes with everybody's schedule, including the team. Some of them were headed out for testing. NASCAR's having that mandatory drivers meeting. It kind of affects everybody down the line.
Yeah, we've all had things planned this week. You know, we were going to test Wednesday. I actually have to do a sponsor appearance tomorrow, so not real sure where I stand on that yet, but we need to get this race in first and make sure we won't be here tomorrow first.
All right, good luck to Martin Truex. Maybe he could tell his sponsor he is a mandatory drivers meeting with NASCAR. Hermie?
Yeah, catching up with David Reagan. We talk a lot about this race being 600 miles and a lot of adjusting going on during the course of the race, but you got a veteran crew chief. That ought to be a good benefit for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our UPS Ford was kind of geared up to start the race yesterday evening and finish under the lights. So obviously we can't change anything now, but we'll definitely be throwing some things at it under the race today. Jimmy Finnig's always good for a few adjustments throughout the race to help us out. So I'm looking forward to just getting in and getting going. You know, we've done enough standing around. Coca-Cola weekend. We've drank a lot of Coke Zero this weekend. So our whole UPS team is ready to get going.
We've seen a lot of people talk about tires not giving up like they have in the past here. Have you guys looked at 2 tires or no tires any in practice to see how your car will react?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's something that you're going to see a lot of guys from probably mid-pack on back. If they have a short run and some of the leaders stay out, you'll probably see some of us come in for a quick gas and go right side tires or something like that. In our nationwide race, we took fuel only one stop and wasn't that bad. So we'll just have to see how the race shakes out, how the track takes rubber, where we're moving around. So you know, I hear the people cheering in the background. Maybe that's something that they're fixing to fire these things up.
Ready to get going, and it will be interesting to see on pit road what guys are willing to gamble to get that track position, JR.
Hermie, thanks. Oh, wait, that's Wendy. Go ahead, Wendy.
Thanks, Johnny. We're going to move down the line. Juan Pablo Montoya and I were just debating whether the rain's going to fall again before we go green. What's your opinion, Juan, on what we're going to have today for racing?
I have no idea whether we get the race in or not. Hopefully we do. You know, everybody wants really to go home and move on, but it's what it is. You know, I think that our target Chevy's been pretty good. I think we should have a good race car either way, so we'll see.
Now everyone's talking about the first practice we had this weekend because the weather conditions were closer to what we're going to have right now. What do you think about that?
Well, we were actually better during the day than when it cooled down, so we'll see.
All right, good luck to Juan Pablo Montoya. Lowe's Motor Speedway President Marcus Smith just speaking to the crowd right now. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot, and the crowd is building. A little bit of rain spitting on us right here, but we hope that moves away and we get all 600 miles of this very historic race at Lowe's Motor Speedway. It's the golden anniversary of the Coke 600, and of course, it's the time where we honor our American military men and women who are fighting overseas and back at home to protect our freedom, because let's face it, without them, we simply could not sit around here today and wait for this rain to go away and watch this great racing, which we will see momentarily here. And in about 7 minutes.
Hey, the stands are filling up, baby.
They're filling up. In about 10 minutes from now, we're going to ask you to switch to your local Fox affiliate and check out all this racing.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit HomeDepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Next week, the boys don't get a break as the fastest 43 head from the beast to the monster. We'll see who conquers race day's favorite mile. Live from Dover. NASCAR Race Day on Speed.
And next week, we'll have you covered from bumper to bumper from the concrete carnivore that is known as Miles the Monster Mile at the Dover International Speedway. NASCAR Race Day starts at Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The weather is, well, I guess a little questionable right now here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. 75 degrees, 82% humidity, isolated storms, and we hope that they are very isolated. Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, it's spitting rain a little bit right now. I want to get a quick word with Casey Mears. Now, not the qualifying run you wanted, but you have won this race before. Can you do it again today?
We got a really good Jack Daniels Chevrolet. Got too loose in qualifying, so not real happy with where we're starting. But a lot of things have changed here in the last couple of days, and we'll see what we have. I think we got a real good race car.
Watch for Casey Mears. He starts 36. Wendy?
Well, we're moving up to the pole. Ryan Newman starting from that top spot, just getting his helmet on this Memorial Day race weekend. Ryan, what can we expect when the green flag drops? You'll lead the field on a very green racetrack.
Man, I really don't know. I chose the outside, so I'm going to be closer to the wall if anything happens. But just want to say thanks to all the U.S. Army troops, soldiers, all the armed forces out there Memorial Day, especially their families. The troops sacrifice a lot, but the families sacrifice just as much, and obviously all the veterans out there as well. So we'll do our best in the U.S. Army Chevrolet and see what happens.
Good luck to Ryan Newman, who has that top spot here on pit road as well. If you turn around the U.S. Army team, they're getting prepped to go over the wall for today's race. Great spot here on pit road. Hermie?
Standing with A.J. Allmendinger, who looks like he's getting ready to go skiing, but he's actually going to go run 600 miles. Tell us how your car is.
It was pretty good on Saturday. Hopefully this Hunt Brothers Pizza Dodge is, with all this rain, the track's going to be pretty green and pretty slippery, but hopefully we made the right adjustments, and I hope we just get this thing in.
Everybody just wants to get it in. Back to you, JR.
Yeah, that would be nice to see, Hermie, and Jimmy and Kenny. When it comes right down to it, 43 cars, they're all racing under the same conditions.
Well, the big thing I see is a lot of different attitudes out there. A positive attitude from Carl Biffle, not as much from Juan Pablo.
Ryan Newman said something that caught my ear. He started on the pole, but he says, I have chose the outside. The pole setter can choose where he starts, I guess. This ought to be interesting.
It's going to be a very interesting afternoon. Now we encourage you to switch over to your local Fox affiliate for the command to fire the engines and the green flag on the 50th running of the Coke 600 here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in Victory Lane.